Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I want to talk about patch 10.1.5 and I want to explain what you can do right now in order to best prepare for this new patch and to make a lot of gold when this patch will be released. As you know, with this new patch, we will be getting a lot of new things, especially we will be able to craft some of the old transmog items from Naxxramas. So there are a lot of different gold making opportunities here. Then there are also a lot of new things that will be added in Dragonflight. And so again, a lot of really good opportunities to make a lot of gold. And finally, one very important change is of course the fact that now players will be able to trade gold and items with other players from any realms for free in their regions. So it means that now you will basically be able to sell your different items and make some gold on any realms in your region. So with all of that, of course, there are a few things that you can already right now. And this is why I'm making this video, so you can try to do some of these different things and be prepared for the release of next week's patch. So there are already a couple of things that you can definitely do in advance, and like that you will be able to be prepared for next week when the patch will be released. Okay, so the first thing I would really recommend you to do is to simply try to get a second account before the release of patch 10.1.5, because like that you will be able to actually trade all these different items and all this gold without the help of anyone else. You will be able to do it on your own. And so it will definitely be useful because let's say, for instance, you want to start trading items and selling items on other realms. Like that, you will be able directly to have your two accounts and to get all the different items on one account and then directly transfer them on your other account using one of your other characters. So this is extremely easy to do. And like that, you will be able to start selling all these different items everywhere. Let's say, for instance, you're doing a farm and at that moment, unfortunately, the value or the competition is not really good on your realm. What you can do is simply then transfer this item on another realm where you can see that the value is better. And like that, you will then be able to sell it faster, probably for a better price. Same, let's say that you want to buy an item from the auction house. What you can do is simply create on your second account a character on this realm. Then you want on your main character, on your main account to get your gold, transfer it to this other character on your second account, and then you can buy the item on this other realm. And then you can either send it back to your main character or use it on this realm. So this is really something that will be very useful, and especially I want to insist on the fact that this new system is really going to change the way most people are making gold in World of Warcraft. So if you are not using this system, probably, unfortunately, you're going to miss a lot of really good opportunities, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to make a lot of gold like it was before when your auction house was unique and you only had the competition from people on your realms. Another thing I would really recommend you to do is to simply start creating some alts on some of the best realms in your region, because like that you will be able, when patch 10.1.5 will be released, to cover most of these different realms and most of these different auction houses. Let's say, for instance, you can already craft some really good items and you have a lot of things that you can sell on multiple realms. Just make sure to already have all these different alts prepared, and when this new patch will be released, especially if you have the second account, you will then be able to trade all these different items and start selling them all around your region. So definitely this is going to be really, really useful, especially if, for instance, you're someone who is planning to try and make some gold with some of the new items you will be able to craft from Naxxramas. Having the possibility to sell these different items on every realm is going to be very, very important, because you want to be amongst the first people and you want ideally to cover every realm. So try to do that. And like that, when patch 10.1.5 will be released, you will directly be able to start covering all these different realms. Another thing I would also really recommend you to do is to go have a look at all the different recipes and plans that are going to be interesting in patch 10.1.5 and the ones that you know you will try to craft to make some gold, and try already to buy some of these different materials, because like that, you won't have to buy them when they will be really, really expensive when the patch will be released. So again, there are a few that I think are safe to say will be really interesting and really needed. So again, what I would recommend you to do is to simply make sure to buy some of them. You don't have to buy the entire stock, Just buy enough so like that if the value increase when the patch will be released, you will still be able to craft some items and start selling them when the value is still very high without having to spend a lot of gold on all these different materials. Keep in mind, of course, it's very difficult to predict the future. And so maybe some of these items will actually be devalued when the patch will be released. But again, I do think that some of them will definitely get an increase in value. And so that's why I would recommend you to get a few just in case. Some of them include, for instance, the different essences of undeath. These ones are going to be really, really important for most of the crafts. So definitely something you want to have. Same, for instance, with the different fell cloth. These ones are going to be great for a lot of different crafts. Same with the different Arcanite bars. So these ones right now are a little bit expensive, so I would not recommend you to invest too much in them. But again, something you want to just keep an eye on because they're going to be really important as well. You also have, for instance, the different Righteous orbs. These ones are great, but a little bit expensive at the moment, I would say. Again, it's really up to you to see. I made a video where I went through what are the best items you will be able to craft, in my opinion, in patch 10.1.5, and what are consequently some of the most important materials you should look after. So I would encourage you to watch this video, and hopefully like that you will be able to invest in some of these different materials before they become very expensive. Another very important thing you want to keep in mind is the fact that some of the plants and recipes you will need in order to craft some of the best items from Naxxramas, especially for instance the Iceland set and some of these other glacial sets, will be binds when picked up. So it means that you won't be able to get them from the auction house or to get them from an alt. So if, for instance, your different characters that have your professions with Classic WoW, the maxed up and they are level maybe 10 or level 20, make sure to level them at least up to level 40, 45, something like that. So they will be able to do all these different activities and to then buy these different plants and recipes and start crafting these different items. Again, this is something you want to do right now, especially because right now there is this buff that is up that will increase your experience gain by 50%. And like that, you will be prepared as soon as we know how to unlock all these different recipes to start getting them and start crafting all these different items. And of course, when it comes to all these different plants and recipes and all these crafted items from Naxxramas, what I would recommend you to do is also try to just stay informed, because the first people who will find out how you can unlock these different plants and recipes, and we will be able to either start selling these different plants and recipes on the auction house or start crafting and selling the different items from them, will probably be the ones making millions and millions of gold, especially now that you can actually sell them on every realm in your region for free. So really make sure to stay informed. Probably we won't really know how to unlock all these different things before the release of the patch, but even that, just go on WoWhead, try to make sure to understand what you have to do, where you need to like put your characters to like be able to start really fast doing all these different things. And like that, you won't be left out of all of that and you won't be too late to make some gold with all these different things. So again, make sure to check WoWhead as soon as possible, and also try to go maybe on Discord, on YouTube, and hopefully you will be able to find some guides and to do that as soon as possible. Another thing I would also recommend you to do is to simply try and get your hands on some of the plants and recipes that are already in the game in order to be able to craft some really interesting transmog items or other type of items and sell them on every realm in the region when patch 10.1.5 will launch. So for instance, here on my blacksmither, as you can see, I have like a couple of items that I think are really interesting. For instance, you have the sulfuron hammer, definitely something you want to have with you. The Venom River from patch 10.0.7, really, really good on most realms. The Blazing Rapier, this is something you can get very easily. And then as you can see, it's easy to craft and you can make a lot of gold. The Phantom Blade, for instance, the Felsteel Long Blade. So some of them will require you to spend quite a lot of gold in order to get the different plants and recipes, and you can find them on the auction house. But there are also some, like for instance the Blazing Rapier, the Sulfuron Hammer, that you can get very easily simply by going and pick it up yourself. So try to make sure to have all these different things with you, because like that you will be able, hopefully, to make a lot of gold on many realms by crafting all these different items. I made 2 videos in the past where I was going through what are, in my opinion, some of the best crafted weapons that you can sell on the auction house, and also some of the best sets that you can craft and then sell. So I will post the link to these two videos in the description, and I would highly encourage you to have a look. Like that, you will see what are some of the best items to invest in and to craft for patch 10.1.5. Of course, keep in mind, some of these items are definitely going to get devalued simply because probably some of them are going to be very easy to craft, and a lot of people are going to start doing that. And so the value on most realms is going to be very, very low. But still, for some of them that are a little bit more difficult to get, for instance, the Felsteel Longblade, the Venom River, and things like that, probably you will still be able to sell them for quite a lot of profit on most realms. Also, when it comes to crafting all these different items, you can try to do it ahead of patch 10.1.5. And like that, when the patch will be released, if you manage to get some alts on some of the main realms, you can directly on day one start selling some of these items on these other realms and start selling them. This is something that is a little bit risky because, as I just mentioned, it's very difficult to know which items are going to be devalued or not. And so sometimes you might think that you will be able to make a certain amount of profit, but the reality is that maybe the value is going to start becoming very low and you won't be able to make any profit or even lose some gold. So it's really up to you to see. Keep in mind also that probably some of the materials, even from previous expansions, might become more and more difficult to find because a lot of people are going to start crafting tons and tons of these items when the patch will be released. And also you will definitely gain some time by doing that. Again, keep in mind, you will have to spend a lot of time trying to get your hands on the new plans recipes from patch 10.1.5. So if you manage to already have all of that done, then you will definitely win some time and be able to start selling them without losing all the different advances that you might get for these other activities in patch 10.1.5. Also, a few days ago, I published a video where I was going through what are, in my opinion, some of the best items you can invest in before patch 10.1.5. These include a lot of items that are pretty rare, difficult to get, or unobtainables. And definitely, if you manage to find some cheap auctions on your realm, you will then definitely be able to sell them on other realms for a way, way better price. So again, these include, for instance, a lot of mounts. You have, for instance, the different mounts from BFA. These include also some of the different unobtainable items, all the different suits and lovely dresses and all of that. So make sure, again, to check your realm. And if you find anything cheap that is going to be still valuable and rare in patch 10.1.5, try to maybe invest in these. Again, it's flipping. It's always risky. But I made a video highlighting some of the, I would say, safe categories of items. So have a look and hopefully you'll be able to find some interesting auctions on your realm. Also, as some of the new activities that will be added in Dragonflight will also be really interesting. For instance, the new dungeon with the end boss dropping this quantum cursor mount that I'm pretty sure you'll be able to sell for a lot of gold. What I would recommend you to do is to simply make sure to have a few characters that are really good in terms of hideable. So like that, you will be able to actually do all these different activities. Again, this is something that you can do on the side. This is not mandatory, but I would say this is something that will definitely be useful for this new patch. Finally, my last advice is make sure to save enough gold to be able to buy some of the BOE plants and recipes from Naxxramas and also the materials that you will need to craft all these different items. This is very important, and unfortunately, if you arrive in the patch without that, probably you're going to struggle being one of the first people to craft these different items and to then make some gold. So make sure to have enough gold when you arrive in this new patch. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Again, keep in mind, these are only suggestions. The most important is for you to have fun. I know that watching this type of videos might make you a little bit nervous. But again, World of Warcraft is a game. It should not be like something that requires too much work and everything. So just try to do maybe a few of these things that you can do. And then I'm sure you will still be able to make plenty of gold in this new patch and to enjoy the patch. So these are really just suggestions, and that's it. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos. And in the meantime, I wish you all a great first day. Bye.